Good morning. I just got here. I thought I better check and see how full our bucket is that I put under there last night to catch the leaking, dripping oil. It's only about right there. So, while a significant leak, it's not a fast, drastic leak. I was a little concerned I was going to get here and that bucket was going to be overflowing, but it's not. So I did order that O-ring that I need to fix that, so I'm just going to let that sit there until that stuff comes, hopefully later this morning or early afternoon. But I might call them to make sure that it's coming. Well, I'm loading up some of the tools that I'm going to need. Air compressor, the saw, got some nail guns and stuff in there. I'm waiting for our chemical salesman to come because I got an order for him and he was going to stop out. You guys want to see something funny? I think it's funny. I'm going to show you. So we have here a credit application for one of our suppliers. I don't know why they sent it to us in the mail, so Dad's trying to fill it out, right? And in this little item right here, it says assets. Dad just wrote enough. Liabilities, not much. Yeah, I'm sure that'll fly, right? I'm sure it will. I don't know why we're getting a credit application anyway. We just write them a check and pay cash for everything, so whatever. Well, our Nutrien and Syngenta reps are pretty happy with us at the moment. So chemicals are ordered, most of them anyway. We're still working on starter fertilizer stuff. And he had a couple of other options and things that we might look at as well. So he's going to give me some more pricing on that. But it is time to go install some hardwood. Let's figure this out. Okay, so if you're new and you haven't been following along, basically we have all this hardwood flooring. This is hardwood, solid white oak that my dad made. We cut the trees down. He sawmilled the boards. He kiln dried them. He tongue and grooved them, planed them, tongue and grooved them. They're beautiful, gorgeous, homemade hardwood flooring. It's super awesome. And we're gonna install that basically through the dining kitchen entryway area here. And so I'm working on getting started with that. So the worst part of this is going to be the prep work and I'm getting everything ready. So I'm going through right now, going along the edges where they sprayed, where they sprayed drywall and where they did the painting and stuff. There's a lot of overspray onto the floors and texture and stuff. So I am sanding that off, just smoothing it up. And there's also a bunch of staples for some reason. And so I'm going through and trying to find any of those and pulling them up as well. Here you can see what I'm talking about with the texturing stuff. We can't have bumps like that. So it's a quick sand to get it off and we'll just clean it up. So I cleaned up half the floor, this side of the island, and got that all staples out, sanded, swept up, and I rolled out the first row of the underlayment. I'm using this block it stuff. I don't know, I got it from Menards. This is what it's for, exactly what it's for. So we rolled that out, and I did staple just along the edges. It says just use enough staples to keep it flat and along the walls. So I did that. Now I need to cut out around the air vent right there. And we have to trim the bottom of the door jambs. So we're going to take a piece of the flooring, small piece, and lay it on here. And then we're going to use that oscillating saw, multi-tool deal, to cut them so that the flooring will be able to fit underneath of that. Kind of like that. Okay, well, we've got 2 runs of underlayment down. I've trimmed out underneath all of the doors that I've made it up to so far, and a little piece off of there. And I think we're ready here. So first thing we've got to do, the next thing we've got to do, however you want to say it, is to lay a chalk line. So my boards, I have some random widths that we're going to do. They're not really random, but there's 4 different widths of boards that we're going to work with. Most of them is this 5-inch stuff. We've got some skinny ones here. How wide are those? 2.5. And then over here, we have some 3 1/4, and some 4 1/8. Well, that's kind of random. 4 1/8. All right, so we're gonna try and mix them all as we go. I don't want them all to be, you know, in big groups. So there's gonna be some varying widths to it. Anyway, point being, most of it is 5-inch stuff. We're gonna start with the 5-inch stuff along this wall. And so I need to mark a chalk line out 5 inches from that baseboard, or maybe just slightly more. You need to have an expansion gap, but because this baseboard was set up enough, the flooring will actually be able to expand underneath of it. So I don't really need to stay out from there very much, if any. Working around this doorway is going to be a bit of a challenge because our first board along the wall is going to come straight across here, and we're going to have a gap. We're going to have to fill it in, and I'm not sure the best way to do that just yet, but we'll figure it out. So I'm going to mark 5 inches off that corner, 5 inches off of that corner. We're going to throw a chalk line down. Okay, I've got my marks made. There's one right there, one on the other end. I need to get a chalk line. I might have to throw a screw in or something. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Anyway, one of the things that you should do is measure across the room this way to the far wall to make sure that you don't have a real skinny piece going in over there, right? So you don't want a full piece on this side and then a little 2-inch sliver on that side. You'd rather have half-width pieces on both ends or something like that. However, because I have varying widths, that's almost impossible to calculate, and it gives me some flexibility to be able to make that come out more accurately. And if I have a narrow board in there, well, I'm gonna have narrow boards throughout the floor, so it's not the end of the world or a big deal. The other thing is I have this edge that we're gonna work with, so we've got straight edge there, and then it comes on an angle, and then we're gonna run parallel with the way that the flooring is gonna run. And so making this edge come out is actually probably more critical than the little bit by the door there, if you ask me. But again, varying with boards, we can make that happen. So we're just gonna start with a full piece. We're not gonna worry about ripping it, other than what we've got to do in front of the doorway there. Okay, well, I'm doing the layout and planning phase here. That's it takes me a while. I am slow, it's just the way that it is. But I want to make sure that this first row is right because it affects the entire rest of the flooring. So what I have found is my 3-inch wide boards that we have over there fit almost perfectly in this gap. So we're just going to put one of those in there. And there is still a little gap along here, but that's what caulk is for. We'll try and find some gray stuff or something that will match this and just fill in that gap. And I think that will be perfect. I do have to work around this vent, and I do not want a seam that close to it. So I just got to lay out the boards or cut one or something. Yeah. We have lots of different lengths, so we're going to have kind of random widths and random lengths. But you want to stagger your joints, and you certainly don't want that little tiny sliver there right next to that AC vent. So I can do two things. I can either cut a shorter board and move this whole thing down so that the gap is right on the edge of it. Might be the easiest thing to do. Or we take a notch out of the center of a board, which would be a little more difficult. Problem if I do it this way is I can't nail it down real good. I could face nail it. I'm going to face nail it anyway, most likely, so maybe I'll do that. I'm kind of hoping Dad comes down here. He went to get his hair cut this morning, but I'm hoping he'll come down and help me a little bit because he knows what he's doing here more than I do. All right, progress is slow, but we are making progress. So we stopped for lunch. I did have Dad come down here and help me a little bit, and he's ripping a board for in here. So the ones that I had that are 3 inches that were just the right width, I didn't have any of them long enough to do that in a single piece. And so we decided to take one of the 4 or 4 1/4 inch boards that is longer and rip it in the table saw so that it's a single piece in there. So as soon as he gets back with that, we can go ahead and start nailing down some boards. So I found a different one to go in here because I want this seam to be right on the edge. of the cutout for that. I decided that was better than bringing it back a ways and notching the board. So that is ready to go in, and I guess I can lay the next one out and start notching around that little wall doorway frame there. Yeah, we're getting it. Oh, there's a board nailed in place, and wouldn't you know it, the first nail split the end of the board because I'm an idiot. I put it too close to the end. I thought, I need it on the end. No, you don't need it on the end. You'll split the board. The trim will cover that up. Okay, it's about to start moving a little bit faster here. We have imperfections. That's character. It's part of the floor. But it's going together. We're starting the third row here. I've got Dad cutting me pieces. I'm going to keep putting them in and nailing them down. I had to face nail the first ones where I just can't get the gun in there. We'll putty those holes and close them up here in a little bit. Everything else we're using our flooring nailer. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so we're getting there. There's a few spots where I'm like here. I chewed up the tongue a little bit, so I got to pick the crap off of there and then chop back it up. My pounding block that I am using right here is splintering and it makes a mess, so I'm trying to not use it unless I really have to. But we're getting there. They're not perfect boards. They're not milled, or they're just, there's some wave to them. We get little gaps here and there. They'll be fine. I'm not going to worry about that. That's part of making it ourselves, and the character, and the fact that it is something that my dad did with me, and that, you know, yeah, the personalness of it makes up for the imperfectionness of it. We're working in this little hallway where the desk is. Now it's a little too tight to use the flooring nailer, so I got to use the finish nailer to put the nails in. But they're still in the tongue. They're not face nailed here, so we'll get it. We'll just, probably one more course will get us out to there, and then we'll worry about this later. We now pause this regularly scheduled programming of laying hardwood floor to unload a seed truck if the dude can ever get back to the door. Well, that wasn't a little seed delivery. That was a whole lot of corn shoved in that corner there. I got 6 boxes and like 7 pallets. It was well over 500 units of corn. There's like, I don't know, $130,000 worth of seed right there. So yeah, that's good. Anyway, I'm going back in the house, and it is 5:30. Oh, 5:45 already, so I don't know, I'm gonna work for a little while yet. Okay, it's almost 7 o'clock. That is day 1 progress. Whew, this is gonna take me a little bit. It is going faster now. We basically came from the doorway out, well, from that wall out in the last 45 minutes. So that is good. Having Dad here helping to just do the cutting and picking boards, and he hands them to me and I put them in place and nail them down. That helps. So we'll give it a go again tomorrow, see how far we can make it. Well, I forgot to wrap this one up before I left. But yeah, we made it today. Had some progress, and hopefully tomorrow will go smoothly as well. Brock is supposed to come tomorrow, so I'm going to have him work on that tractor for me. I never did get to fixing that O-ring, but I didn't move that bucket, so it's catching all of the oil. But he can fix that and keep cleaning, and maybe take the front tires off and do the hub oils that need to be changed in there. So anyway, we'll see you again in the morning. Thanks for watching today, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe button, and if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. See ya.